What's going on, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. Hope we're doing well. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July, staying safe out there. Quick video here, part 3 training camp preview, talking tight ends. A group that's not very sexy. You're not going to see them on any, top 5 or top 10 PFF rankings. But certainly a lot of upside, especially on the back end with some young players that I think we've all been looking forward to seeing get some more opportunities. And then certainly an opportunity for Tyler Conklin to be the featured guy. The Jets got rid of Uzomah. They didn't draft Bowers. They didn't really bring in anybody prominent, just a couple undrafted free agents. So definitely an opportunity for Conklin to shine this year. Had 58 and 61 catches respectively each of the last 2 years. Struggled a little bit his first year, with some drops. I think he had a couple fumbles as well, but last year he was a solid player in spite of all the instability at quarterback and the change in offensive coordinator and all the issues that the Jets had there last year. So certainly a lot of upside and a lot to look forward to with Conklin. Also entering a contract year, so a lot of questions about his long-term future. Can the Jets afford to keep him? If he has a big year, I think he's going to be looking at 70-plus catches just based on the way he was used in training camp, the chemistry that him and Rodgers had. Rodgers, it seemed like, was always looking for the tight ends, especially with the blitz, just as a natural security blanket. Conklin seemed like he was going to fit that role. So you wonder if he's a 70, 80 catch guy this year, still relatively young, what kind of contract he'd be looking forward to or looking for after that. And I don't know if the Jets could pay it. It's going to be tough when you factor in AVT and Michael Carter and the Hassan Reddick situation. What's going to happen there? Is he just one and done? A lot of guys, DJ Reed included, that the Jets are going to have to pay, and that doesn't include your 2022 draft picks. So you wonder where Conklin fits in, and also I think that puts an even bigger spotlight on Jeremy Ruckert, not just because the Jets need him to step up this year as the number 2 guy without Uzomah, but looking forward. Again, you can't pay everybody. It would be nice to have Ruckert as somebody that you can depend on to fill that role for a year or two, making not so much money. He's somebody that I think as fans, it's easy to root for him. Just being a Jet fan, growing up on Long Island, his dad's all over social media with Jet stuff, so it's an easy story to root for. But then when you watch the player and you see, it seems like every time he got opportunities last year, he was flashing, he was making plays, yards after the catch, solid blocker. It seems like he's got all the tools. It boggles the mind trying to figure out, why he wasn't getting used more. Especially last year, you can understand it maybe a little more as a rookie, but last year, especially when it was clear that Uzomah didn't really have what he did with the Bengals. He clearly, I think, lost a step. For all the leadership that he provided, his production on the field was very minimal. So you would think at some point, especially as the season started going the way it did, you want to get a look at Jeremy Ruckert and see what you have for the future. So those flashes, hopefully this year, turn into a lot more production. I think he's going to be first up for that opportunity, to be the second tight end, to be in those 2 tight end sets. But you also have a couple guys also that I'm looking forward to with Kenny Yeboah, who I've been a huge fan of the last few years. Love him every year at training camp. Seems like he's somebody that's just always shining there. Was on pace, I think, to make the roster last year. Started on IR, eventually played a few games, and then Zach Kuntz, who also started last year on the practice squad. 7th round pick, 6'8", huge target. But I think if you remember on Hard Knocks, some of the issues that he had with blocking, and then with the playbook, even on the touchdown, I remember Rodgers was mic'd up. He ran the wrong route, still caught the touchdown anyway. If he cleans up those 2 areas, just as far as his technique blocking, and then learning the playbook, and also probably adding on some size, which I'm sure he did. You would expect that if the Jets are going to keep 4 tight ends, he would be the 4th. If they're only keeping 3, then it's a question of what you value more. I think Kenny Yeboah is kind of built a little bit more like a receiver, so if you're looking for more of a pass-catching tight end, it could be him. But I do want to see where Kuntz is at as far as his blocking going into year 2. The Jets did bring in 2 undrafted free agents. I think those are practice squad candidates at best. Ultimately, if they do need to bring in somebody, I would assume it's probably somebody more in the mold of just a blocker, although you could use Fashanu for that, which I would personally love. You want to get this kid some experience. You want to get him on the field, 74 eligible, bring in those jumbo packages. I do think the Jets are going to be a ground and pound first team anyway, so I think that could be the direction that they go in. You also have Nick Bowden as well. So a group again, it's not very sexy. I don't think they're going to be talked about like some other position groups that the Jets have. But certainly a group that I'm excited about, mainly for the young players, but also for Conklin. I think he's in store for a big year. I just don't know what his future is going to be, and if putting up those huge numbers ultimately is going to make it a little bit more challenging for the Jets to keep him. But that's not something you could worry about for this year. I think he's a solid number one. So excited for this group. Receivers coming up next. Talk to you guys soon.